All right. Number one, if a line has a slope of 4, then a parallel line would have a slope of what? Yes, Ashley. That would be perfect if it were perpendicular. It's just 4, yeah. It's just 4, yes. It's got to have a slope of 4. Slope of parallel lines are equal, okay? So if we have like y equals 3x plus 1, this one's parallel, it'd be like y equals 3x plus 6. Now notice one thing about this. Not only are these equal though, these have to be, they got to be not equal, they got to be different, right? Otherwise it's the same line. Otherwise it's the same line. All right. So that's one of the big ideas today that we learned. Slope of a perpendicular line, fraction flip and change the sign. So yeah, as we got to you, okay? If the line has a slope of 8/3, then a perpendicular line would have a slope of -3/8. Yes. So if I had like y equals 8/3 x plus 6, this one's perpendicular, it would be -3/8 x plus whatever, don't care. Let's call it 17, sure. That number doesn't matter. So that's what we learned the other day. Let's look at the sheet of paper I just gave you. All right. Sheet of paper I gave you there. There's 6 problems on it. They're kind of notes. Okay. So let's start with number 1. Okay. I gave you the following line. You have to write an equation of a line. It says parallel. Let's say parallel, right? Parallel. Okay, excellent. Parallel. And what's it got to do? Got to go through 8, -1. Okay. Actually, you know what? I'm going to shut up and let you get started on this because I think some of you already have it. Okay. Some of you I've seen them are already graphing 8, -1. Great. And if it's parallel, you can probably figure out the slope, correct? So I'll give you about a minute here to look that over and figure that out, okay?
What's the answer? What's the slope of our new one? Yes. Okay, and the P stands for starting with the y-intercept. That's how we're calling the y-axis.
Seen a lot of people. Man, not good.
This equation, you're right, except for
So this is 3/1, right? Perpendicular is going to be fraction flip. And change the sign.
Oh, yeah. I got ahead of myself.
All right, get some good questions here. Most of y'all, I'm seeing most of y'all kind of have this already. This is fantastic. All right. How many of you found the slope on this and then just made the slope for this one? You just graphed it. That's cool. That's cool. Okay. What's the slope of this one? This line? 1 over -4, or -1/4, or -1/4. You can talk about either way, right? They're all the same. So this line has to have a slope of -1/4, down 1/4, down 1/4. You can also go up 1, back 4, up 1, back 4, up 1, back 4. You can graph points ad infinitum, but probably just do it ad nauseum until you're sick of it. You graph the line, right? All right, so what's the equation of this line? Yes? Y equals, oh, so close, so close. -1/4 x plus 1. So you saw the graph and found the equation, yes? Okay. That's fantastic. That works. That's how Mr. Kuhne did it in high school. And then I learned about point slope form. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is so much easier. Okay. Once upon a time, there were two people that lived over by the observatory. The names were Mr. and Mrs. Kuhne, and they had some friends that went to DePaul, and they ran into their friend Kate at the grocery store one time and said, "Hey, you should come over. We're gonna have s'mores." So she came over to have s'mores. So they went from Kroger to their house. Kate memorized how to get to their house from Kroger, but she could never remember how to get to their house from DePaul. So what would she do? She would go drive from DePaul to Kroger, turn around the parking lot, and then drive over by the observatory and find her house. Does that work? Does it seem kind of silly? It is a little silly, right? But it worked, right? Okay. All of you got there. You got there. You got there. I'm going to show you how to go from DePaul to Mr. Kuhne's house the fast way now. Okay. What's the slope of our new line? -1/4. I just put that right there, right where the m is. Okay. Y minus y1 x minus x1. What point are we going through? 8, -1, right? I want the 8 is the x, correct? That's the y. And yes, I realize there's a negative and there's going to be I still have to put in the -1. Okay? And I'm done. Did I have to graph it? No, I didn't. This is perfectly fine. This is a correct answer. Now, some of you don't like this because it doesn't look like y equals mx plus b, right? So we can check ourselves. We can check ourselves. That's fine. All right, 2 negatives make it positive, y plus 1. If I distribute this, I get -1/4 times x. Negative times a negative makes it positive. 1/4 of 8. Well, 1/4 of 8 is the same thing as 8 divided by 4, which is 2. Now, it's still not y equals mx plus b. I got the plus 1 over here. What do I got to do? Subtract 1. -1 minus 1. Y equals 1/4 x plus 1. Same thing, right? Okay. How many of you though? How many of you would like to just stop it and leave it right there, though? That's fine. You can. How many of you are still like, Mr. Kuhne, I know you told me how to get directly to your house, but yeah, I'm more comfortable just graphing it than finding the line that way. And that's fine too. Okay? Mr. Kuhne in high school did it this way. Then I got comfortable with this. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so much easier. Okay? Go with what you're comfortable with at first. If you get once you get really comfortable with this, okay, then maybe try this new one, see if it works for you, okay? Try something new. All right, let's look at the next one. Let's look at the next one. All right. So we have to write the equation of a line that's perpendicular. Perpendicular, excellent. Okay, perpendicular, no worries. What's the slope of the line they gave us? 3? 3/1, good. Say it with me, ready? Slope of a perpendicular line, fraction flip and change the sign. Okay, when I said say it with me, I know you heard, let's just let Mr. Kuhne say it by himself, but I really mean say it with me this time. Okay, ready? Slope of a perpendicular line, fraction flip and change the sign. Okay? It is kind of catchy. Let's make this into a song. Okay, so if the slope of this is 3, what should my slope be for my perpendicular line? -1/3, right? Okay, so the slope is going to be -1/3. And what point are we going through? -6, 2. Okay, -6, 2 is right there, correct? And the slope of this line has got to be, the slope has to be -1/3, correct? Let's go. Down 1 over 3. Down 1 over 3. Down 1 over 3. Down 1 over 3. Now this one was nice and cute because it went through, again, a nice whole number, didn't it? It went through a nice whole number. So you get y equals, the slope is negative 1/3 x. Then we put the x. Remember, the slope is just the number in front. Don't include the x. And what's our y-intercept on this? It's 0, right? So we can just write y equals negative 1/3 x. So to do this, we made the point, okay? That was one step, right? We did the slope, that was 2 steps. We found the y-intercept, that was 3 steps. And then we wrote the equation, correct? Now, we're going through, we said 6, negative 2, correct? Y minus, when I point, you tell me what number goes here, okay? Ready? Which one is it? Okay. X, it's going with the X, right? So it's got to be the 6. It's the slope, so it's negative 1/3. And then the y coordinate is negative 2. And you can leave it. It's kind of nice to skip all those extra things we got to do, right? Do you see why this can be a handy tool? Okay, it's a handy tool. Do you need it? No, because we can do it this way, can't we? We can do it this way. But it's a handy tool, and you can just leave it there. If you give this to me, that tells me, okay, I know, just like I used to know, like, okay, this means go to 0 and do a slope of negative 1/3, right? This tells me go to 6, negative 2 and do a slope of 1/3, right? Negative 1/3. I have those in backwards. Was it negative 6, 2? Oh, goodness gracious. Negative 6, positive 2. So that's really that, and that's really an extra negative in there. Okay. You okay? So there's 2 things we need to find, right? A slope and a point. Then you can make your line. Some of those, I gave you a table. Can you find a slope from a table now? Sure. Could you graph the table? Graph the points and find the slope that way? Yeah. On some of them, I gave you an equation. Could you graph the equation and then find the slope? And then draw the perpendicular line? Sure. It's a good way. Those are all good ways to check. And again, how can we check if something's perpendicular? Take the corner. If you graph it, take the corner of your paper, put it in there. Does that fit like? Does that look like it fits perfectly? Yeah, it does, doesn't it? So that's how you know. Yes, I did it right. That's the right angle. We're good. Okay.